So let's start. আমি তোমাদের একটা জিনিস বলি, I'll tell you one thing. So this is our batch. That is our BSF Group B batch. Okay. এবার দেখো আমাদের যেটা মেইনলি সাবজেক্ট আমরা পড়বো আজকে ফার্স্টে সেটা হচ্ছে সার্কিট থিওরি। ওকে, সার্কিট থিওরি উইল স্টাডি ফার্স্ট, then we'll go forward with other classes. Now just let me explain you one single thing, that is I have shared one schedule. I have shared one schedule. This schedule is present in this group. তো তোমরা সবাই একটু শিডিউলটা ভালো করে দেখে নেবে। You must see this schedule. And as per this schedule, the classes will be held. Okay. Shared with you for your future reference. So don't worry about that. So let's start with today's class. So whatever the question I have selected these questions from the currently whatever examinations going on. Based on that, I have selected all the questions. If you have any doubt, any one of you having any doubt in any language, বাংলাতেও জিজ্ঞেস করতে পারো. If you have any doubt in English, you can ask me. Okay. So the first question is, দেখো, you must see whatever the syllabus of circuit theory is. In this class, what we will do, we will basically discuss all these topics. Okay. But in the form of questions, whatever the standard questions or optional questions that are coming, যে ধরনের questions গুলো আসছে, all these things I will discuss. ঠিক আছে? Now, let me start with one of our questions. Before going into that into the detail, দেখো তোমরা সবাই দেখতে পাচ্ছ, you all must be seeing here is a bar. Okay, this is a timing bar. Here it is 36 seconds. That is the time limit I have set. Whenever a question comes up, I'll launch a bar coming up from this direction to this direction. It will take around 36 seconds. And in between those 36 seconds, you have to answer whatever the question is present. And after your answer, I'll explain all the topics. আমি তোমাদের সমস্ত টপিক গুলো বলবো. I'll explain all the topics and you will get some idea about the question. So this is our first question. Okay, so this is our first question, and I'm just starting my timer. I have just now started my timer. See here the timer is going up in the upwards direction. You can see here. So you have to answer the question in our section, that is in the group chat section. You can answer the answer keys. Like the question is, for parallel circuit, dash is the quantity analogous to the reactance in the series circuit. এখানে তোমরা বলবে যে প্যারালাল সার্কিটের অ্যানালোগাস হিসেবে রিঅ্যাকট্যান্সের কোনটাকে আমরা ব্যবহার করে থাকি ইন সিরিজ সার্কিট, ক্যাপাসিট্যান্স, ইম্পিডেন্স, ইন্ডাকট্যান্স অর সাসেপ্টেন্স. See here, if you do not answer within time, the answer key will come up just like this. So this is the first question I'm telling you. ভাবে কিন্তু প্রত্যেকটা কোশ্চেন হবে এবং তোমাদের কিন্তু প্রত্যেকটা কোশ্চেনের অ্যান্সার এই টাইম শিডিউলের মধ্যে দিতে হবে। ঠিক আছে? আমি এখানে যে কোশ্চেন সেটটা তৈরি করেছি, এই কোশ্চেন সেটের টাইম অ্যাসপেক্টটা আমরা রেখেছি। ঠিক আছে? We have kept the time aspect here such that you can get an idea about how you must answer the question and in which time you must answer the question. If the question answer is not coming within time, then you need to improve your speed. Okay, so that point you have to take care. Now see, দেখো এখানে কি বলেছে, in the parallel circuit dash quantity is analogous to reactance. Now in any circuit, if we define impedance has basically two components, that is one is a real part, another is a imaginary part. Now the real part basically represents our resistance, and the imaginary part has two components, that is inductive reactance and capacitive reactance. And we basically get the difference to calculate the value of the X. Okay. Now this XL basically represents inductive reactance, and XC represents capacitive reactance. Now, what the question is saying here is, what is the analogous of reactance in series circuit? Reactance, this term, what is analogous in case of, in parallel circuit, what do we call it? In parallel circuit, what do we call it? Basically, Z, we call it impedance. In case of parallel circuit, we call it as Y, that is 1 by Z. That is nothing but our admittance. Now, these other two terms, we write it as basically G plus J BL minus BC. Now, what is this BL minus BC? G means reciprocal of resistance, that means conductance. Now, this BL minus BC is basic. As B or what we call susceptance. Always remember one thing: this value always differs, not the minus value. It is the difference between the two readings that we always take into account. So, if the question had said, then what is the in parallel circuit? What is analogous to impedance? Then what will be the correct answer? যদি কোশ্চেনটা এরকম দেওয়া থাকতো যে প্যারালাল সার্কিটের ক্ষেত্রে কোন কোয়ান্টিটিকে আমরা ইম্পিডেন্সের অ্যানালোগাস হিসেবে ব্যবহার করে থাকি, তাহলে অ্যানসারটা কি হবে? Try and answer. So what will be the correct answer?
So এখানে তো সাসেপ্টেন্স,
এটার জন্য অ্যানসার হচ্ছে সাসেপ্টেন্স. ইন দিস কোয়েশ্চেন ইট ইজ সাসেপ্টেন্স, বাট মাই কোয়েশ্চেন ইজ ইফ ইট ইজ অ্যানালোগাস টু, সাপোজ যদি এরকম বলা থাকতো যে what is the quantity analogous to impedance in the case of series circuit?
স্যার অ্যাডমিটেন্স হতো।
Then admittance will be the correct answer. Correct. Okay. Now this much for this question. Now coming to next question. See, here what they have given is, I'm just starting my timer. Find the value of L equivalent for the following circuit. Here you can see the timer is going up. You have to answer within the time. Okay. If the timer goes beyond this time and your answer comes late, then you are late. So you have to make it fast. You have to answer these questions in a faster manner. So just try and answer this question. See, the answer has already come up, that is 5 Henry, but we do not actually আমরা কিন্তু এই অ্যানসারটাকে বিশ্বাস করব না. We do not have to think about this answer whatever is coming, but we have to calculate from this circuit itself. So all of you just try to calculate. তোমরা সবাই একটু ক্যালকুলেট করো যে অ্যাকচুয়াল ভ্যালুটা কত আসছে, 5 হেনরি আদৌ এটা আসছে কিনা. If you do not know the process of how to calculate this, I'll help you. Just first check whether it is coming to 5 Henry or not. দুর্গেশ বুঝতে পারছো কি বলছি? দেখো ক্যালকুলেশন করো, ঠিক আছে? What is the correct answer? So what is the correct answer? Is it correct? দেখো এটা কারেক্ট হচ্ছে তো. So how to calculate this? Now you know that if two inductors are connected in parallel, then their equivalent inductance will be how much it is? L1 plus L2. So this is, if this is L1, suppose this one is L1, this one is L2, and they are connected in, if they are connected in parallel. So so L equivalent will be, consider this as L3. L2, L equivalent will be, how much it is? L3 plus L1 parallel L2. Now, for parallel operation, L equivalent will be 1 by L equivalent will be 1 by L1 plus 1 by L2. Now, from this you can write L3 plus L1 L2 by L1 plus L2. Now, what is the value of L3? 2. What is the value of L1? That is 4. The value of L2 is 12 divided by 4 plus 12. So the answer is 2 plus 4 into 12 upon 16. So it is 5. Right? So our answer is correct. Ashok Kumar, can you get my point? Are you getting my point, whatever I am saying? Hello? ওকে রাহুল, তোমরা তুমি আর দুর্গেশ বুঝতে পারছো? দেখো বলো কিভাবে করলাম, বুঝতে পারলে তো?
হ্যাঁ, এটা রেজিস্ট্যান্সের মতোই হচ্ছে, তাই না?
হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বুঝতে পারছি।
ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে। Ashok, if you have any problems, if you have any doubts,
No
please
problem,
ask
sir.
me
I
any
understand,
question.
sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So now coming to the next question, see. Now try and answer this question. In the following question, if I1 is 10 amperes, I2 is 15 amperes, and I3 is 20 amperes, find the total current IT. So what will be the total current IT? This is IT, this is I1, this is I2, and this is I3. Answer it quickly.
Sir, 40.
45 হচ্ছে না, দেখো এখানে দেখো, just see here, apply KCL here. If you apply KCL, now you can see the outgoing currents is IT and I2. These two are outgoing currents, but incoming currents are I1 and I3. Just put the values here. IT plus I2 is 15, I1 is 10, and I3 is 20. So what is the correct answer? IT equals 30 minus 15, that means 15 amperes, right? So this is the correct option. So তোমাদেরকে এটা বুঝতে হবে যে you have to answer within time. What I have done here is I have just applied KCL, Kirchhoff's current law. Consider this as the point A and apply KCL here. You can see here these two currents are incoming currents and these two currents are leaving currents with respect to this A point. If this is A, then this is also A and this is also A. So applying KCL here, you can write this equation. If you apply KCL in this node, you can write this equation, and based on this equation, you will get the answer 15 ampere. Whatever question I am giving you, all these questions are currently asked in different UPPCL, then your NBCC, then your NHPC, and other examinations that are presently getting conducted. I am just giving those questions only. Those are very much relevant, and those pattern questions are now currently asked. So I'm mainly focusing on those questions that are currently asked. So this is also one of the examinations it has been asked. Okay. So is it clear to all of you? তোমরা সবাই বুঝতে পারছো কি বলছি?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
Okay. Now coming to next question. I will request all of you, তোমরা সবাই, you all must reply whatever I am saying. You must keep your microphone on and you must reply to whatever questions I am saying. Okay. Now coming to next question. See here. In the following circuit, find the total current supplied by the battery. See here, there are two bulbs, I think, shown, that is 15 watts and 10 watts. There is also a 20 watt bulb is present. Now calculate, we have to calculate the power, that is calculate the total current. What is the total current that is coming here? I think there is an internet issue. That's why there is a delay in my voice is also there. So the correct answer is 5 ampere. Just now we have to check whether the correct answer is 5 ampere or not. Just you all calculate what is the correct answer. Is it coming to 5 amperes? All must calculate. We all must know the process. Okay. We have to concentrate on whatever the process is there, not on the answer key. Here we are trying to get the answers in within a time, because in every examination there will be a specific time. So we must try to solve the answers within the given time. That's why the answers are coming up, but we need to know the process as well. How to calculate the problems. বলো রাহুল আর দুর্গেশ, এই কোশ্চেনের অ্যান্সারটা তোমরা করতে পারবে? Ashok Kumar, can you calculate how to calculate this value? Do you know?
But I do another way, sir.
Okay, if you have written any answer, you can send it in the WhatsApp group. I'll check from there also.
Okay, sir.
I'll tell you the process how to calculate. রাহুল কি করে করবো বলো, দুর্গেশ কি করে করবো বলো অ্যান্সারটা।
এখানে পাওয়ার ওয়াটে দিয়ে আছে, তো ভিআই কস্টটা করে এভাবে
না, ডিসি সোর্সে কস পাই করতে পারছিস,
মানে শুধু ভিআই করে আর কি।
এখানে দেখো টোটাল কারেন্ট যেহেতু বলা আছে, তার মানে তুমি এখানে কি করতে পারবে, দেখো এইখানে তো 20 ওয়াট আছে, তা 20 ওয়াট মানে তুমি খুব ভালো করেই জানো যে ভি ইন্টু আই করলেই তুমি পেয়ে যাচ্ছ, তাই তো। এইবার তোমাকে বুঝতে হবে যে এইখান দিয়ে কারেন্টটা তো তুমি খুব সহজেই পেয়ে গেলে। এইটা হচ্ছে তোমার 20 মানে if you calculate power is equal to V into I, that means 20, that is equal to V into I. V is 9, I will be 20 by 9. For this branch I1, suppose this is I1, that is 20 by 9 ampere you can get. Now what is this? We need to calculate. So if you calculate here, you need to check first of all one thing: what is the total wattage? Can you calculate the total wattage? What happens when we add two wattages in series? So how to calculate the whatever the current is coming here? How can we calculate? Just give me that idea. See here, we know one thing. If there is a total voltage here, there is 9 volt is mentioned, right? If you consider here one voltage, suppose if you consider here V voltage, then this voltage will be how much it is? Tell me. If this voltage is V volts, so this volt has to be 9 minus V volts. So if you can calculate the current here, how much current is coming here? That is, suppose this current is I1, suppose this current is I2, suppose this current is I2. So what will be I2? I2 into V must be equal to 15 watts. So I2 must be equal to 15 by V. And the same current will also flow through this part as well. So I2 that is 9 minus V into I2 has to be equal to this 10 watts as well. So I2 needs to be 10 by 9 minus V. Now see here, these two terms are actually here one thing, that is 3 into 9 minus V, sorry, 5V, right? So V equals 27 by 5 we are getting. So what is I2? So what is I2? I2 is nothing but 15 by V. I2 is nothing but 15 by V. That means 15 divided by what it is? 27 divided by V. So 27 divided by 5. That means 3 into 5. So this is 9. So now you can guess here, 5 into 5, that is 25 divided by 9 is coming, right? So the total current, how much it is? So total current, if we consider I here, I will be I1 plus I2. Now the I1 value has determined 90 by 20 by 9 plus 25 by 9. That means 45 by 9. That means 5 amperes. So in this way, you can also calculate. This is one way, but this is a tedious way. This is a tedious way. Is there any way that we can calculate the total wattage like this? Directly total wattage can we calculate? See here, this is a longer process. This is a lengthier process through which I have calculated this value. But how much is 20 plus 15 plus 10? That means 45 watts is there. That 45 watts is supplied by how much it is? 9 volts. So the current has to be I. So I has to be 45 by 9, that is 5 watts. In one go, you can calculate this value. Right or not? If you just add up all the wattages, you will get this value. And from this 45 watts, you will get the 5 ampere current. বুঝতে পারলে কি করলাম? রাহুল, দুর্গেশ,
হ্যাঁ স্যার বুঝতে পারলাম।
তোমরা এটা করতে পারো। বলো,
শর্টটা আরেকবার বলুন স্যার।
স্যার তার মানে এখানে সিরিজ আর
I just added all the values of the wattages to get the total wattage and divide it with the source voltage. So we are getting the total current. Just simply adding all the values.
ওয়াটেজের ক্ষেত্রে তাহলে সিরিজ প্যারালাল কোনো ফ্যাক্টর করো না?
ওয়াটেজের ক্ষেত্রে সিরিজ প্যারালালের ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে, যখন তুমি দুটো ইয়েকে তুমি ধরো সিরিজে যদি লাগাও, ঠিক আছে, তাহলে তোমার কত ভ্যালু আসছে সেটা তোমায় বুঝতে হবে। ঠিক আছে, সব কটাকে যোগ করে দিলে তোমরা, ইফ ইউ অ্যাড অল দিস ইউ উইল গেট দিস ভ্যালু। আর ওয়াটেজের ক্ষেত্রে একটা ক্যালকুলেশন আছে, তাহলে আমি তোমায় বলছি। ওয়াটেজের সিরিজ প্যারালালের ক্ষেত্রে একটা কম্বিনেশন আছে। Wattage, if the wattages are there in parallel, we can add the values. Okay, the total wattages must be added. যখনই তুমি টোটাল ওয়াটেজ নিয়ে কাজ করবে, ধরো ফর এক্সাম্পল, if I am saying this like this, suppose you are having 100 watt fans, right? 100 watt fans. If you are connecting all the 100 watt 4 or 500 watt lamp fans you are connecting in parallel, then the total wattage will be added up, right or not? If you have 5 fans, if you add them in parallel, then the total wattage will be 500 watts. Now the second thing is, here it is correctly mentioned that the consumption is 15 watt and consumption is 10 watt. It is directly mentioned. Here it is not said that the wattages are different. Here it is already, the loss is already mentioned here. So if you add this, তোমরা যদি এটাকে অ্যাড করে নাও, তাহলে কিন্তু তোমরা টোটাল ওয়াটেজটাই পাবে। ঠিক আছে, এখানে অ্যাকচুয়ালি লস বলা আছে। হিয়ার অ্যাকচুয়ালি দ্য লস ইজ মেনশন, দ্য টোটাল লস ইজ মেনশন, রাইট? সো ইউ ক্যান You can get in process you can calculate. In this process you can calculate the process, but the answer will come out to be correct. Okay. You can issues. I think you are not able to see the questions. Okay, just let me change this name. I think there is network issue. Just wait a second. তোমরা কি আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ স্যার, মাঝখানে আটকে যাচ্ছিল।
হ্যালো। হুম। হ্যাঁ, তোমার তো শেষ হয়ে গেছে। না না না, তোমাকে তো আগে থেকেই বলা হচ্ছে যে 1 মাস আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, করো করো তাই করো। Actually, there is a network issue. Wait. There is a lot of network issue today. So I'm just try to answer this question. So what is the correct answer?
B স্যার।
20 আসছে তো? 20
12
is coming, right? If you see here, 5 and 20 are in parallel. So we can write 5 into 20 by 5 plus 20. Plus, here these two are in parallel. That means 10 into 40 divided by 10 plus 40. So what is the correct answer? 25 upon, sorry, 100 upon 25 plus here it is 400 upon 50. So here if you can calculate, the value is coming out to be, this is 4 and this is 8, that means 12, right? 12 ohm is the correct answer. I think you all must know this. This is very easy. Now coming to next question, see here it is saying that just read the question carefully. The voltage and the current being applied to a load are sinusoidal waveforms whose amplitudes are 50 volts and 10 amperes respectively. The phase angle between them is 30 degree. Find the reactive power of the load. They are asking you to find the reactive power. What is the value of reactive power? Calculate করতে বলা হচ্ছে reactive power. কি করে বার করব বলো? How to calculate reactive power? So what is the correct answer?
250 বার
250 var. Okay. দুর্গেশ কত আসছে? Ashok, what is the correct answer?
Sir, I'm not aware about. I'm not strong about basics, sir. Now.
Okay, okay. So I'll tell you how to calculate this value. I'll help you. See
Okay,
here.
okay, sir.
So you see here there is a voltage and current are mentioned. Okay, the waveform is sinusoidal, whose amplitudes are given at 50 volts and 10 amperes. It is mentioned, and the angle between them is written as 30. The phase angle between them is 30. So what is the statement actually saying here is, suppose this is one voltage waveform, you can see. Consider this as a voltage waveform, and the amplitudes are shown as 50. So this is 50 basically. Now if you want to represent this voltage waveform, you write it like this: V of t, that is equal to Vm sine of omega t. Now what is this omega? Omega is basically the 2 pi by capital T. Now what is capital T? Capital T is the time period. This is the time period. So from this time period, we are calculating this value of omega, or we can write this as 2 pi into f. That means f is the frequency. Frequency is nothing but your 1 by t, right? So in this way, you can calculate the value of v of t, that is Vm sine omega t. But here, we don't need to calculate this value, but we need to have an idea how this voltage actually getting represented. So this is the representation of voltage. Now, if you see here, the current, how it is represented, it is said that the value is 10 amperes, right? And it has a phase angle of 30 degree. 30 degree means it is actually, is it mentioned ki lag or lead? I think it is not mentioned lag or lead. Let us consider this as a lag. Lag means the waveform will start from 30 degree after the voltage waveform has started. That means consider this as 0. This is 180 degrees. This will be 90 degrees. Now, if you divide these to 3 parts, then this will be 30 degrees. Now, from this 30 degree onwards, the voltage, the current waveform shall start like this. If we consider this as a lagging 30 degree, then we can get this waveform. Now, this is the magnitude or amplitude of 10, and this 10 amplitude we can represent it like this: I of t is equals I of m sine of omega t minus 30 degree. Why minus 30 degree? As the waveform is starting from the right, or after the voltage waveform as it is starting, we are mentioning it as minus 30. Suppose the waveform has started earlier. If it has started earlier, then you would have written it as omega t plus 30. Okay. So in this way, you can see here, V of t and I of t, these two are our instantaneous values. Vm and Im are our maximum values. Now the reactive power, when we say that reactive power is nothing but V into I into sine of phi. Now what is V? V here it is 50. I here it is given as 10, and the value of phi is given as 30. So sine 30. That means 50 into 10 into half. That means how much it is? 250, right?
250.
Now, that is the mistake that all of you will make. You should not make this mistake. You have to understand one thing. Here, the values of given are in Vm and Im, right? But here, the values, whatever I'm writing for the to determine the value of Q, is not in Vm or Im. It is in Vrms and IRMS, right? So we have to convert these Vm values to Vrms values. Vrms is nothing but Vm by root 2. IRMS is nothing but Im by root 2, right? So you have to divide these two with another root 2 values. So you will get root 2 by root 2. That means 50 into 10 divided by 2 into 2. That means 4. If you divide these two, then how it will come? This is 5 and this is 25. So the total result will be 125 watts. Okay. So you have to keep one thing in mind, that there are 3 quantities are essential. One is an instantaneous quantity or the instantaneous value. Another thing, what we call it as a RMS value. And another thing, what we call it as a peak value or the maximum value. Peak or the maximum value. Here it is mentioned to be peak or maximum value. But when we calculate the values of Q, that is the reactive power, we need to place the RMS values. That's why we are putting the values of RMS. We are converting this as RMS values. Now, one more point you must keep in mind, that if the waveform is not in this shape, suppose it is said that the waveform is not in sinusoidal, it is in suppose a triangular or rectangular, whatever it may be, then these values of √2 will change. This relationship of the RMS and maximum by √2, this relationship is actually valid for sinusoids only. In your question paper, it can also be given something like that: the waveform is of triangular in nature, or the waveform is of rectangular in nature. So in those cases, you need to understand the relationship between the VRMS and VM, and based on that, you have to calculate the VRMS and IRMS values, and then only you can get the actual value of Q. Okay. So if it is said that, suppose here it is said that active power. So if it is said that here the question here is for reactive power. If the question is given for active power, then what will be the correct answer? যদি কোশ্চেনটাতে reactive power না দিয়ে active power দেওয়া থাকতো, then what will be the correct answer? বলো, tell me what is the correct answer. If the question had asked for the active power.
But 125 √3 হতো।
Active power হলে
স্যার
125 √3, right?
Yes.
125 √3, that is 50 by √2, 50 by √2, and in place of sin 30 we would have written cos 30. Cos 30 means √3 by 2. That means the total result will be, sorry, this is 10, not 50. So this will be, how much it is? 125 √3, right or not? So this is this. Now, if the value had been given for a triangular wave shape, what will be the value of the active power for triangular wave shape? So what is the value of the active power if the wave shape is given to be triangular? If it is given triangular, then what will happen? Do you know the relationship between the VRMS and V maximum values for the triangular waveform? See here, for the triangular wave shape, it will be VRMS or VRMS will be VM upon √3. Okay. So this is one formula that you have to keep in mind for the triangular waveform. Suppose if the question had given for the square waveform, if it is given for square waveform, then what will happen? For square waveform, what will happen? In square waveform, what will happen? For square waveform, if you remember, the square waveform looks like this. For square waveform, the maximum values and the average and the RMS values becomes equal. Okay? The RMS, average or maximum values all are same. They do not have different values. Okay. So whatever is VDC or whatever is V average, that becomes equal to V RMS, and that is also equal to V maximum. How? If you see here, the maximum value is this one, and this one is also called as your RMS value, and this one is also called as your average value as well. So for square waveform, this will happen. So whenever we are actually doing one single question, we are actually not doing one single question, we are doing multiple questions. So through this you will get multiple ideas. তোমরা বুঝতে পারছো যে একটা কোশ্চেনের থ্রু দিয়ে কিভাবে আমরা অনেকগুলো কোশ্চেন করছি। দেখো কি ডিসকাশন করলাম, বুঝতে পারলে? রাহুল দেখো, দুর্গেশ বলো, দুর্গেশ বুঝতে পারছো কি বলতে চাইছি? দেখো একটা কোশ্চেন দিয়ে কিন্তু আমরা অনেকগুলো কোশ্চেনকে বুঝতে পারি। See here also, what we are actually trying to achieve here is we are actually taking up one question and making different questions out of it, such that if some questions are asked based on this type of topic, you will be able to answer all of them. Now coming to next question. Find the voltage drop across the 6 kilo ohm resistor. What is the voltage drop across the 6 kilo ohm resistor? Try and answer. What is the voltage drop across the 6 kilo ohm resistor? We have to calculate. So how to calculate?
एक बार पानी चोरी हो गया।
हम तो करो ना जो है पानी है नहीं।
বলো রাহুল কত হচ্ছে? Ashok, what is the answer? Durgesh, কত অ্যানসার আসছে বলো?
So 90.
90.
স্যার
Ashok,
60
60 আসছে। তো কি করে ক্যালকুলেট করব বলো? হাউ টু ক্যালকুলেট?
স্যার ওই কারেন্ট ডিভাইডিং রুল ওটা প্রয়োগ করলে তো চলে আসবে।
Current divider rule লাগাও। First of all, we need to calculate the through current divider rule. So how the current divider rule must be taken care? Suppose this is I, in this direction I1 and in this direction I2. So I2 has to be is equal to I1 I into opposite branch resistance divided by total resistance. That means this one. So I is given to be 30 milliampere, 30 into 10 to the power minus 3, and here it is given to be how much it is? 9 kilo ohm by 18 kilo ohm. That means kilo ohm gets cancelled out, so half. That means 15 milliampere.
এটা নিচে +9 মানে 27 হবে, আমিও ভুল করেছিলাম।
Yes, correct.
এই জন্য আমার
27 will be the correct answer. 6 plus 12 plus 9. So 6 plus 12 plus 9, that means 6 plus 12 plus 9. Correct. Very good. So 6 plus 12 plus 9 will be correct answer.
6 plus 12 plus 9
তাহলে এখানে কত হচ্ছে? 12 আর 6 হচ্ছে 18, 18 আর 9 হচ্ছে 27, 27. So 9 by 27 means 1 by 3. 1 by 3 means this is coming out to be 10. So 10 milliampere is the current is going through this part. So what is the voltage drop? 10 into, so the voltage drop here will be how much it is? 6 into 10 to the power cube multiplied by 10 into 10 to the power minus 3. So 60 will be the correct answer. So let's see what is the correct answer. Yes, 60 volts is the correct answer. The volt, whatever the current is going through this branch multiplied by this resistance, we will get the value of the voltage drop in this path. Okay, now coming to next question. Ashok, have you understood? বাকি সবাই বুঝতে পেরেছো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
Okay, now coming to next question. A 100 watt electric heater has a resistance of 4 ohm what will be the maximum permissible current? We need to calculate the maximum permissible current. So what is the maximum permissible current?
স্যার 10 অ্যাম্পিয়ার হবে?
10 ampere হবে directly. Quickly answer the question.
না 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 ঠিক।
5
হচ্ছে তো? See here how it is coming out to be 5. Power P is equal to I square into R. So if I calculate I, that will be P by R, right? Now what is P? P is given to be 100 watts. R is given to be 4. That means root under 25. That means 5. So you have to be very fast in calculating these questions. Okay. So this is the correct option. Now coming to next question. See here, the question has given that 10 capacitors are connected in series. If all the 10 capacitors are of the same value, then the equivalent capacitance is given to be 10 microfarad. Find the capacitance of the each capacitor. Okay, there are 10 capacitors connected in series. What they have said is that the total equivalent capacitance is 10 microfarad. So find the capacitance of each capacitor. ওটা পাঠিয়ে দিই পরে? ওটা কম্পিউটার নেই? ও আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। So the correct answer given here is 100. So how it is coming? So if you have, suppose n number of, suppose 10 number of capacitances, so you can write it like this. This is 1 by 10, that is equal to 10 by C, as all the capacitances are connected in series. In parallel. That means 1 by 10 is equals, if you try to write 1 by C plus 1 by C, like that up to 10 times. If you write, the result will be 10 by C. So from here, C will be 100 picofarad, 100 microfarad, whatever is there, whatever unit they are given, that will be the correct answer. So Ashok, are you getting my point? Whatever I am saying, just reply.
Yes, sir, I am watching, sir.
No, you must not just only watch. You have to understand whatever I am saying.
So once I revise the basics, it is easy for me, sir, but I not revise that.
Okay, if you have problems with basics, then you have to join some of our classes which are in details. Then you will get some idea. Okay, so I'll try to answer all the topics in this way such that you can get an idea, but you have to understand whatever the answers I'm giving and how the answers are coming up.
Okay, sir.
That must idea you must have.
স্যার বলছিলাম একটু ডিটেইলসে বেসিক থিওরিটা দেখালে হতো না, সার্কিট থিওরিটা।
হ্যাঁ, এখানে ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে দেখো, সার্কিট আমাদের এই যে সেশনটা হবে, এই সেশনটায় শুধুমাত্র কোশ্চেন অ্যান্সার হবে, ঠিক আছে? সার্কিট থিওরির যে বেসিক পোরশনটা তোমরা বলছো, ঠিক আছে, সেইটা আমরা অন্য একটা পার্টে কভার করব, ঠিক আছে? তো কোশ্চেন অ্যান্সার দিয়ে আমাদের প্রথম দিনটা হবে, ঠিক আছে? ওই যে থিওরিটিক্যাল ক্লাসের পার্টটা আছে আমি তোমাদের সাথে শেয়ার করব, ঠিক আছে? So if you need theoretical classes, I'll also share, but as far as your course, in this course only we have tried to keep the theoretical the question answer part only. So I'll add also some of the theoretical parts, but for this session it will be only question answers. So coming to the next question, see here, whatever is given. A steel ring with 15 centimeter square cross sectional area is wound uniformly with 1000 turns of wire carrying a current of 500 milliampere. Find the MMF. এখানে যে কোশ্চেনটা দেওয়া আছে, কোশ্চেনটায় বলেছে যে 15 সেন্টিমিটার স্কয়ারের একটা রিং আছে, স্টিল রিং আছে, যার এরিয়া দেওয়া আছে, ঠিক আছে, ইজ wound uniformly, যেটাকে ইউনিফর্মলি বাউন্ড করা আছে, উইথ 1000 টার্নস অফ ওয়্যার, ঠিক আছে, যেখানে 1000টা টার্ন আছে, turn of wire carrying a current of 50 milliampere is 500 milliampere. So what they are asking is to calculate the value of MMF. So what is the value of MMF? How to calculate MMF?
অ্যাম্পিয়ার ইনটু টার্ন করে দেবে।
Ampere into turn করে দেবো, correct. We must multiply the current with the number of turns. So the current here is 500 milliamperes and the turn here is 1000 turns. So what is the correct answer?
50.
500 ampere turns, correct?
500.
500 ampere turns. You see, 500 ampere turns is the correct answer. So MMF means current into number of turns. So current here is given to be 500 milliampere multiplied by the number of turns given to be 1000. That means 500. Okay, so 500 ampere turns is the correct answer. Now coming to next question. What is the unit of reactivity? What is the unit of reactivity?
Meter hand is here.
Meter Henry.
Huh?
Let's see. So what is reactivity?
Sir, Webers.
Weber is in flux. No. The unit of flux is Weber. The unit of MMF is ampere turns. Reactivity is defined as the easiness with which magnetic flux flows through any material. It is the easiness of magnetic flux. Easiness of flow of magnetic flux. That is your reactivity. It is basically meter per Henry. Right. So to me, if you see here, we know this equation V equals to IR very easily. Now, if you try to convert this equation to a magnetic circuit equation, then this equation turns out to be something like this. Here, the resistance, whatever is there, is represented with reluctance. R is represented with reluctance. Okay. Now, this MMF is nothing but is your potential. MMF is nothing but your potential. So magnetomotive force, and whatever the current is there, the current is basically represented with phi. That is the flux. So this is the equivalence of the circuit in case of electric circuit and a magnetic circuit. So এইভাবে আমরা কিন্তু ম্যাগনেটিক সার্কিট আর ইলেকট্রিক সার্কিটকে রিলেট করতে পারি, ঠিক আছে? তো এই সম্পর্কটা কিন্তু তুমি যদি দেখো, তুমি দেখবে এখান থেকেই তুমি আইডিয়াটা পাবে যে কিভাবে দুজনের মধ্যে সম্পর্ক আছে। এমএমএফ কি জিনিস, ফ্লাক্স কি জিনিস, হোয়াট ইজ ফ্লাক্স, হোয়াট ইজ এমএমএফ এন্ড হোয়াট ইজ রিলাক্টেন্স। নাও কামিং টু নেক্সট কোশ্চেন। In a single phase circuit, the apparent power is given to be 250 volt amperes. Okay. So, and the reactive power is given to be 150 volt amperes. Now, what is the active power? They are trying to get the answer of what is the active power. They are giving the apparent power and reactive power. So, what will be the active powers? Try and calculate. So what will be the value of active power?
Apparent power by reactive power. Okay.
Yes, tell me, Ashok.
Reactive power equal to apparent power by.
No. You know that apparent power, if it is written as S is equals to root over of P square plus Q square, right? Where P is the active power and Q is the.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, এটাই কোশ্চেন, বি হচ্ছে।
So what is the correct answer?
স্যার বি হচ্ছে।
P has to be equal to root over of S square minus Q square. So the value of S is here given to be 250. 250 square minus 150 square. So what is the correct answer? 250 plus 50, 250 plus 150 and 250 minus 150. So what is the correct answer? You can see here 250 plus 150, that means 400, and 250 minus 150, that is 100, right? So from this you can get the value, how much it is, 200, right? 200 watts. 200 watts is the correct answer. Let me check.
হ্যাঁ স্যার এটাই বেরিয়েছে
200 watt is the correct answer. So if you consider the power triangle, this is considered as the power triangle, right? In power triangle, this base quantity basically represents your P. This perpendicular actually represented by the Q, and this term is basically represented by S. Your hypotenuse, your hypotenuse is mentioned in terms of S, is perpendicular as Q, and the base as P, right? So from this you can get the idea to how to determine the value of this way, in this way. Another form of S is something like this, P plus JQ. You can also write it in this way. This is the rectangular form of representation, right? In this way also you can write. Now coming to next question. A sinusoidal current of I of t is represented to be 75 sine 50 pi t. Find the frequency. So what will be the frequency from this representation? What is the frequency of this from this representation?
স্যার 25
25 is one option coming from Rahul. I'm not giving this timer anymore because all of you are not up to the mark now. But in some time I will also include this timer as well. This timer is basically very much important, because if you do not have the idea about how much time you are taking, then there is a problem. We must have the idea about how much time we are taking for every question. So we all know that it is basically Im into sine of omega t. So we all know that omega is basically 2 pi into f. So f is nothing but omega by 2 pi. Now what is omega given here? 50 pi. It is 50 pi divided by 2 pi, that means 25. So 25 is the correct answer. Right or not? So this is the correct answer. So Ashok, in which year have you completed your diploma?
Sir, 16, sir.
2016.
Yes.
So in this much time, what you have done?
Next I joined B, sir.
You have joined B,
Yes, sir.
but you haven't studied all these things, whatever I'm saying.
Yes, sir. Second year I learned this, but next year I entirely forgot about it.
Okay, very good. Forgetting things is a very wonderful thing, but you have to keep these basics in mind. Otherwise, you cannot proceed further.
Okay, sir. Next
I'll
class
call
I.
you. Okay, I'll call you after this session, and I'll guide you. I'll inform you some of the steps so that you can improve.
Okay, sir.
So try and determine the value of mutual inductance, where the self inductances are given to be 16 Henry and 25 Henry. 16 হেনরি আর 25 হেনরি দেওয়া আছে, ঠিক আছে? আমাকে বলেছে মিউচুয়াল ইন্ডাকটেন্স বার করতে, যেখানে ম্যাক্সিমাম পসিবল ভ্যালু অফ মিউচুয়াল ইন্ডাকটেন্স বার করতে বলেছে। Now what do you mean by maximum possible value of mutual inductance? You must know this thing. What is meant by maximum possible value? Okay, so I'll give you an idea. Just first of all, try yourself. Say, what is the value is coming? দুর্গেশ এটার কত অ্যান্সার আসছে বলো। রাহুল বলো কত অ্যান্সার আসবে।
ডি
দুর্গেশ বলছে বি।
ডি স্যার 20 হেনরি।
ডি 20 হেনরি। ওকে
হ্যাঁ
ওকে, তো দেখো একটা অ্যান্সার এসছে, উই হ্যাভ রিচড ওয়ান অ্যান্সার। just try and give. Well, I'll explain you something. Thoro, if you have a coil something like this, okay. Here, if you suppose are supplying some voltage, if you are supplying some voltage, suppose here any V voltage you are supplying. So because of this application of the voltage, there will be some amount of flux that is created around this coil, right? Now, if some amount of flux is created around this coil, if you place any other coil near this, there will be some amount of voltage that will be induced in this coil ends. Okay. Now, the closer you get here, the closer you reach here, the more the number of fluxes will interlink with this coil. Now, the best possible way, what we can do here is, suppose this is one coil. In this coil, we are giving the supply, right? Here we are giving the supply. So the maximum flux interlinkage, that means this flux completely linking this coil, is possible only in one condition. Can you say in which condition it is possible? The maximum interlinking of the flux, in which condition it is possible? কখন আমরা বলতে পারবো যে এই কয়েলটা থেকে এই কয়েলটার মধ্যে ম্যাক্সিমাম ফ্লাক্স লিংকেজ হবে? Can you say this? When the maximum flux linkage happens due to this from coil 1 to coil 2? If you can put this coil 2 inside this coil 1, if you can put this coil 2 inside this coil 1, that is the case where the maximum amount of flux can be linked, right or not? So this condition is basically called as the maximum possible condition of mutual inductance, in which case the coefficient of coupling becomes unity. That means we have a formula, M is equal to K into root over of L1, L2. Here K equals 1 means the maximum amount of the flux that are produced in the coil 1 is linking with the coil 2. The case that we can physically observe something like this, if you have a coil and inside that coil, if you have placed the secondary coil or the second coil, you will get the maximum amount of the flux linkage, that is K equals 1, you can get here. So if you can now just put the value here, you can get the idea. M is equal 1 into root over of L1, L2. Now what is L1, L2? Here it is very easy, 16 into 25, that means root over of 4 square into 5 square, that means 20 is the correct answer. So 20 is the correct answer, that is correct. But you must know what is the condition of maximum mutual inductance. Now what is meant by mutual inductance, you must know. Mutual inductance in any coil is produced due to any other secondary coil. Suppose you have coil 1 here, coil 2 here. Because of coil 1, the mutual inductance is created in the coil 2. If the coil 1 was not there, the mutual inductance would not have been created. Okay. If you have a single coil, we call it as an isolated coil. Okay. If a coil is isolated, that means there is no interconnection. That means the coefficient of coupling becomes equal to 0. If a coil becomes isolated, then the mutual inductance will be 0. That means the coefficient of couplings has also become 0. That means it is physically isolated from any other coil. This is a single. Okay. The thing you can compare it something like this. If you have two friends together, you will create more noise, right or not? If you are single, you will not create too much of a noise. But if your friend comes, you will also create more noises. Together, you will create more noises. So in that way, you can say here that the effect is always, if you consider two separate coils coming together or coming one place to another or nearer to each other. So in this way, you can get the idea. Okay. So this is the next question. Now coming to next question. So this is the next question. Try and arrange. This is a database oriented question. So this type of questions are basically asked. You have to get an idea. The question here is, arrange the following materials in ascending order with reference to the resistance offered to electrical current. Glass, silver, germanium. Glass, silver, and germanium. বলো দুর্গেশ।
ডিএটা হবে সিলভার, জার্মেনিয়াম, গ্লাস।
silver,
Yes,
germanium, glass. Ascending order with respect to resistance offered to electrical current. Which of the following material will have the least resistance?
glass also. No, money.
Least. Which material has the least resistance?
Silver also least resistance.
Silver, right?
Yeah.
Silver is the material with highest conductivity, right or not? So the correct answer is silver, germanium, and glass. You can see here, silver is a metal, that is a conductor. Germanium is a semiconductor. And glass, dielectric or insulator.
Insulator.
So this is a conductor, this is a semiconductor, and this is an insulator. So this is the correct option. Now coming to next question. Here the question is given like this.
Should have
A good heating element should have dash specific resistance and dash temperature coefficient of resistance.
specific. Sir, B hobe low resistance, low temperature.
Low resistance good heating element এর কথা বলছে কিন্তু
ও আচ্ছা।
Ashok, what is the correct answer? Rahul bolo, what is the correct answer?
Sir, C, sir, maybe I think.
C, high low. So let's just start the timer. You have options, you can change as well. High and low. Specific resistance must be high, but the temperature coefficient of resistance has to be low. That means with increasing temperature, we do not need the variation. Too much of a variation we do not need. Now, this is the next question. Find the G equivalent of the network. So how to calculate the G equivalent of this network? Such questions are coming. Such questions are coming. You have to be really very much careful. The simple step here is, first of all, convert everything to resistance, then convert them to equivalent resistance, then convert that equivalent resistance to equivalent conductance. That is the basic way you can do very easily. This one will be 1 by 8. This one will be 1 by 4 ohms. This will be 1 by 6 ohms. This will be 1 by 12 ohms. This will be 1 by 2 ohms. Right or not? Now, these two resistances are connected in parallel. So, 1 by 8 into 1 by 4 upon 1 by 8 plus 1 by 4. Okay. This is in series with this combination. What is this combination? 1 by 2 and this 1 by 6 plus 1 by 12. 1 by 6 plus 1 by 12 means basically how much it is? 2 plus 1 by 12. That means 1 by 4. Right or not?
Yes, yes.
1 by 4. So 1 by 4 and 1 by 2 are in parallel. That means 1 by 4 into 1 by 2 divided by 1 by 4 plus 1 by 2. Just calculate this value. So here it is 1 by 32 divided by, here it is coming out to be 1 plus 2 by 32. Sorry, 1 by, you just write here. You just write here 4 and this is 8. 4 into 8 and write here 32. That will be far more easier. Plus 1 by 8 divided by 4 plus 2. right? Divided by 4 to 8. So 8 gets cancelled, 32 gets cancelled. So 1 by 4 plus 8 means 12. And here 1 by 8. So 1 by 12 plus 1 by 8, how much it is? So that is 36. 3 plus 36 is not correct. How much it is? $48. So this is 4 and this is 6. So this is 10 by 48. So 10 by 48 is R equivalent. So what will be G equivalent? 48 by 10. We have not reached the correct answer. We have made
স্যার
some mistake.
লসাগুটা 24 হবে।
Huh?
24 হবে লসাগুটা। এলসিএমটা 24।
তো একই ব্যাপার হলো না, এটা
হ্যাঁ 12 2 প্লাস 8 3 মানে 2 প্লাস 3
24 হচ্ছে।
হুম হুম
এটা হচ্ছে 1 এর 8 প্লাস 1 এর 4, 1 এর 8 প্লাস 1 এর 4 ভাই 1 এর 8 প্লাস 1 এর 4, 4 আর 8 12, আর এটা হচ্ছে 1 এর 6 প্লাস 1 এর 12, 12 হচ্ছে 2 প্লাস 1 3, 3 এর 12, 3 এর 12 মানে হচ্ছে 1 এর 4, 1 এর 4 ইনটু হাফ ডিভাইড বাই 1 এর 4 প্লাস হাফ, that means 2 plus 4 by 8, 2 plus 2 plus 4 means 6, 2 plus 4 means 6, so that's why we have made a mistake. So 1 by 12 plus 1 by 6 is how much it is? 1 by 4. So this is coming out to be 1 by 4, right? So what will be, so this is what this is R equivalent, but what do we need? We need G equivalent. So G equivalent is nothing but 1 upon R equivalent. That means 1 by 1 by 4, that means 4 Siemens. 4 Siemens is the correct option. 4 Siemens is the correct option. Now if you go by the G formula, then this is the correct way to do it. Okay, you do not have to remember multiple formulas. Otherwise there will be a relationship and that relationship will be pretty much difficult. There will be a relationship between R equivalent and G equivalent. There is always a relationship is there, but you must keep in this way such that the answer, by remembering one formula we can answer the question.
স্যার এখানে এসটা কি বোঝাচ্ছে? সাসেপ্টেন্স
এটা হচ্ছে সিমেন্স, এটা হচ্ছে ইউনিটটা 8 সিমেন্স। 8 সিমেন্সটাকে আমি 1/8 ওহমে কনভার্ট করলাম। 8 সিমেন্স মানে কি? সিমেন্স মানে হচ্ছে 1 ওহম। সো 8 সিমেন্সকে 1/8 ওহমে কনভার্ট করলাম, 4 সিমেন্সকে 1/4 ওহমসে কনভার্ট করলাম। ওকে,
এই সিমেন্সটা কি মো নাকি?
হ্যাঁ
এই সিমেন্সটা কি মো নাকি?
মো ইয়েস,
আচ্ছা
সিমেন্স হচ্ছে এখানে মো। Now coming to next question. Now try to answer. Find the time period and angular frequency of the following signal. Time period বার করতে বলেছে and angular frequency বার করতে বলেছে। What will be time period and what will be angular frequency? See here, this is the correct option. So how to get to this point? Vt is equal to Vm cos of omega t plus alpha. Now this omega is nothing but given to be 50 pi, right? So 50 pi is the value of omega that we are getting. Now whatever the value of t, we know that omega is equal to 2 pi by t. That means 50 pi. So that is coming out to be t is equal to 2 pi upon 50 pi. That means 1 by 25. 1 by 25 means 4 milliseconds. Sorry, 40 milliseconds. Sorry, 40 milliseconds. 40 milliseconds, not 4 milliseconds, 40 milliseconds. So C is the correct option. Right. Now coming to next question. It is a very easy question, but nowadays it is getting hard. See, what is the symbol of this?
Impedance, sir.
Huh?
Impedance.
What is the correct answer? What is the symbol?
Impedance, sir.
Impedance. Yes, correct. It is the symbol of impedance. Very easily you can guess. So এরকম symbol দিয়ে কিন্তু questions they are asking. Nowadays the questions are based on this symbol based questions are there also. Now coming to next question. Now try and answer this question. Find the value of V2. What is the value of V2? বলো 6 ভোল্ট হচ্ছে তাই তো দেখো 6 ভোল্ট হচ্ছে V2 ভ্যালু কত আসছে হোয়াট ইজ দ্য টোটাল কারেন্ট I
স্যার ওটা তো 12/800
12 by 800 so 12 by 800 into 400
হ্যাঁ
12 into 400 by 800 that means 6 volts 6 volts is the correct answer okay so this is the 6 volts is the correct answer so in this way you can do now coming to next question see here বলো এটা কি হবে you need to calculate the current I this current here it is given 1 amperes so what is the current coming out in this direction I this is very easy
কি হবে স্যার
কত হবে
কি হবে
C হবে কত হবে C হবে না D হবে
কি হবে 3
হ্যাঁ এখানে 4 অ্যাম্পিয়ার আছে এখানে 1 অ্যাম্পিয়ার আছে তাহলে এখানে কত হবে 3 হবে না
হ্যাঁ স্যার
3 অ্যাম্পিয়ার হবে কামিং টু নেক্সট কোশ্চেন দেখো তো in a magnetic circuit the magnetic coil has 10 turns the reluctance of the magnetic path is 250 ampere turns per Weber reluctance is given to find the value of self inductance এর ভ্যালু কত হবে
বি आंसर হবে 2.5
কিরকম ভাবে হয় n স্কয়ার বাই s is equal to l তাই না তাহলে n স্কয়ার কত হবে 100 বাই 250 তার মানে 0.4 হেনরি ঠিক আছে 0.4 হেনরি now next the peak amplitude of the sinusoidal voltage is 120 volt find the peak to peak voltage কত হবে এটা what do you mean by peak to peak voltage what is meant by peak to peak voltage see if this is called as peak then this is called as peak to peak right or not? So if it is 240, if it is 120 volts, then the total will be how much it is? 240 na? If this is plus 120, then this will be minus 120, right or not? Now coming to next question. See here. How much does 100 watt bulb consume in 2 hours? In 2 hours, how much does a 100 watt bulb consume in 2 hours? সম্পর্ক মনে আছে? 1 কিলোওয়াট সমান সমান কত জুল বা কত কিলো জুল? 1 কিলোওয়াট সমান সমান হচ্ছে 3600 কিলো জুল। তাহলে 100 ওয়াট সমান সমান কত হবে? 360 কিলো জুল। 360 কিলো জুল হচ্ছে 1 কিলোওয়াটের জন্য। 1 ঘন্টা চললে 360, 2 ঘন্টা চললে 360 ইন্টু 2, 720। নেক্সট, এটা বলো কত হবে? Find the current I in the following circuit. কারেন্ট I কত হবে বার করতে বলেছে? বার করো। কি করে বার করব?
স্যার বি এরটা হবে।
এরকম ভাবে এই লুপে তুমি কেভিএল অ্যাপ্লাই করো। কেভিএল 3 minus 4i minus 5 volt minus 6i equal to 0. তার মানে how much it is? minus 2 minus 10i equal to 0. So I is equal to minus 2 by 10, that means minus 1 by 5 or minus 0.2 amperes. This is the correct option. ঠিক আছে? এই রকম কোশ্চেন কিন্তু তোমরা পরীক্ষা পাবে, একদম যেরকম কোশ্চেন দিচ্ছি সেম রকম। এখন তো এটা কি হবে? ফাইন্ড দা ভোল্টেজ ভিএবি ইন দা ফলোইং সার্কিট। এই সার্কিটে ভিএবি বার করতে বলেছে। হোয়াট ইজ ভিএবি? ভিএবি কত হবে? ইউনিট গুলো সব ভুল লেখা আছে, সব ভোল্টেজ হবে, কারেন্ট লেখা আছে ভুল করে। কোনটা হবে? এই যে 3 আর 5 যোগ করে 8 হচ্ছে, 8 থেকে 1 বাদ দিচ্ছি, তাহলে কত হচ্ছে এখানে? 7 ভোল্ট আসছে, রাইট? এবার দেখো নেক্সট, এটা ট্রাই করো তো। বলো কি করব? কি করে করবো? কত হবে এটা? বলো দুর্গেশ, বলো। হাউ টু ক্যালকুলেট? এখান থেকে যদি আমি ক্যালকুলেট করতে চাই, দেখো এই তিনটে প্যারালাল আছে, তাহলে প্যারালাল গুলো আগে মেটাও। 20 ইন্টু 30 বাই 50, তাহলে এটা কত হচ্ছে? দেখো 0 0 কাটলো, 5 4 20, মানে 12, 12 আর 60,
বি এরটাই
12
আছে।
বাই 72, 6 12 72, 6 10, 10 হচ্ছে। টোটালটা 10 হলো, 10 10 20, 20 আর 80 প্যারালাল, 80 ইন্টু 20 বাই 100, মানে 16। ভেরি ইজিলি তোমাদের কিন্তু এই কোশ্চেন গুলো অ্যান্সার করতে হবে, আর খুব ফাস্ট ওয়েতে ক্যালকুলেশন করতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? কোশ্চেন তোমাদের ঠিক মতো অ্যান্সার করতে আসতে হবে, নাহলে মুশকিল আছে। ট্রাই এন্ড অ্যান্সার দিস ওয়ান। একটা সিরিজ আরএলসি সার্কিটের কথা বলেছে যেখানে আর এল এবং সি আর এক্সএল এক্সির ভ্যালু দেওয়া আছে। সো হোয়াট উইল বি দ্য ভ্যালু অফ ইম্পিডেন্স? ইম্পিডেন্সের ভ্যালু কত হবে? কত হবে গো বলো? দেখো এক্সএল গ্রেটার দেন এক্সি আছে, রাইট? তো আর প্লাস জে এক্সএল মাইনাস এক্সি এটা করে দাও, তাহলে অ্যান্সার বেরিয়ে যাবে।
ডিএটা
J10, 50 plus J10, very easy. Now coming to next question. Which of the following material has positive temperature coefficient of resistance? Positive temperature, huh?
ডি জার্মানিয়াম।
Correct. Hey, D germanium কেন? B manganese. Manganese is the correct option. বাকি সবগুলো তোমার এগুলো কি মাইকা ইনসুলেটর, জার্মেনিয়াম সেমিকন্ডাক্টর, আর এটাও সেমিকন্ডাক্টর। সেমিকন্ডাক্টরের নেগেটিভ টেম্পারেচার কোএফিসিয়েন্ট হয়, ইনসুলেটরেরও হয়, শুধু পজিটিভ হবে মেটেরিয়ালের, ম্যাঙ্গানিনের। নাও নেক্সট, দেখো কি বলে দিয়েছে। A ring shaped core with core cross sectional area of 2 cm square has a flux density of 5 Tesla. Find the flux in the core. বলো ফ্লাক্স কত হবে? B is equal to phi by A, তাহলে phi is equal to B into A. B কত বলেছে? 5 টেসলা। আর A কত বলেছে? সেন্টিমিটার স্কয়ারে বলেছে, তার মানে কত হবে? সেন্টিমিটারকে মিটারে কনভার্ট করলে 100 দিয়ে গুণ করতে হয়, তাহলে 10 টু দি পাওয়ার -4, তাহলে কত হচ্ছে এটা? 10 into 10 to the power -4, that means 10 to the power -3. 10 to the power -3 মানে হচ্ছে 0.001 ওয়েবার্স, ঠিক আছে? 0.001 ওয়েবার্স। সো এইটা ছিল আমাদের আজকের সেশন, ঠিক আছে, যেখানে আমরা এই এসএস মানে সার্কিট থিওরির উপর প্রথম কোশ্চেনের একটা সেট আমরা কমপ্লিট করলাম, ঠিক আছে? তো দিস ইজ দি সেট 1। এর পরের দিন যেটা সার্কিট থিওরি ক্লাস যখন হবে তখন সার্কিট থিওরি সেট 2 হবে, দিয়ে আমরা গোটা সার্কিট থিওরিটাকে কমপ্লিট করব, ঠিক আছে? তো তোমরা যারা ইউটিউবে এই ভিডিওটা দেখলে, যদি তোমরা জয়েন করতে চাও সেম সেশনে, এই কন্ট্যাক্ট নাম্বারে ফোন করতে পারো, করে তোমাদের সিট বুক করতে পারো, ঠিক আছে? আর বন্ধুরা, তোমাদের যদি কোনো কোশ্চেন থাকে তোমরা অবশ্যই জিজ্ঞেস করবে, ঠিক আছে? তো এই রকমই দেখবে তোমাদের কারেন্ট যে কোশ্চেন প্যাটার্নটা হচ্ছে সেই কোশ্চেন প্যাটার্নে এরকম কোশ্চেনই আছে, এবং এই রকম কোশ্চেনই কিন্তু আমরা প্রত্যেক দিনের ক্লাসে প্র্যাকটিস করব, ঠিক আছে? আর এই পিডিএফটা আমি তোমাদের গ্রুপে এখন পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি, আর এই ভিডিওটা যতক্ষণে তৈরি হয়ে যাবে আমরা অবশ্যই এটাকে আপলোড করে ইউটিউবে দিয়ে দেবো। তো আজকে আমাদের সেশনটা আমরা এখানেই স্টপ করলাম, ঠিক আছে? তোমাদের ভালো লেগে থাকলে অবশ্যই কমেন্ট বক্সে লিখবে, কোনো কোশ্চেন নিয়ে ডাউট থাকলে অবশ্যই জানাবে। সবাইকে থ্যাংক ইউ।